I'd like to call the conservation meeting to order. We do have a member attending remotely, so we're going to take a roll call. Chris,
Here.
Bob,
Yep.
Diane,
Here.
and Ken here. Okay. First item on the agenda is to review and approve minutes, and we have none. Second item is the signed bills.
There are 2 bills to sign.
We're going to hold these other two items, elect officers and elect a community preservation committee representative. We'll hold that till we have a full commission. On to meetings and hearings. We have a continued public hearing regarding notice of intent filed by Scott Charpentier, 63 Main Street, Northborough, Mass, for the removal of a dam and restoration of a stream at 134 Reservoir Street, Northborough.
Hello, we're attending remote. I'm here, Haley Page from Weston and Sampson, representing the Northborough Department of Public Works, and I'm also joined here by TJ, just to talk through the updates since the last time we appeared in front of the commission. Since the previous time we have shown in front of the commission, we have submitted a brief response to comments on the concerns on the additional riverfront area to be added to the site, and also on the tree removal and tree replacement. The Northborough Department of Public Works would like to request a special condition for one-to-one replacement for the 8 trees to be removed for the project, to be worked out with the commission where these trees could be planted throughout Shrewsbury. And additionally, I'm going to share my screen briefly to jump into the riverfront area findings. So let me try to share my screen. Okay. I think it should be sharing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so if it would switch ahead. Okay, so now you should be seeing a plan in front of you, as long as it's working correctly here. So it was requested that we show, based on the approximated estimation of where we believe the stream will naturally restore upstream to where this riverfront area would extend onto adjacent properties. It was noted that on the eastern side of the reservoir that the anticipated riverfront area will be completely located within the Northborough-owned parcel. And then over here on the eastern side, there is a slight increase. You can see this little green box I've drawn in over here. You can see there is a slight bit of additional riverfront area located at 124 Reservoir Street and 128 Reservoir Street. At 124 Reservoir Street, there is already existing riverfront area off of the upstream reach of the Ross and Hillbrook that is existing. It is anticipated that approximately 520 square feet of riverfront area would be added to the 124 reservoir site. And there also is some additional riverfront area to be added to 128 Reservoir Street, being approximately 475 square feet. As you can see from the aerial imagery below, these areas do not seem to be developed and seem to be located in forested areas. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to the commission to discuss, because I know we were kind of left off discussing this last time, unless TJ, you might have anything else to add.
Nope, Haley, thank you. I think you covered it.
I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see where everyone is.
Just one question, those homeowners were notified of what was happening with this, correct?
That's correct. They should have been notified as well in the abutter outreach with the original filing.
Okay. Bob,
Yeah, no questions.
Chris,
No questions.
Diane?
Well, two, hopefully they're small. One is, I assume that you submitted the 401 water quality certification?
Yep, that has been submitted and it's currently under review. And we responded to some comments that they had on that, but we know that as an ecological restoration limited project, it is required to file the 401 prior to submitting a notice of intent.
Okay, all right. So the next question is, it's just for the people who are watching, who are downstream from the dam. Can you give them full confidence that the work that's going to be done here is being done in such a way that they are not at risk for property damage from flooding?
Yes. So according to our analyses that were performed, we did extensive H&H analyses to look at the downstream and upstream impacts of the removal of this dam. And it was determined that there should not be a drastic increase in the water that is moving downstream. I believe that should be sufficient. I don't think I have anything else to add on that other than the H&H analysis that was performed to support this information. But that was included in the notice of intent submittal.
Thank you.
Okay, Aaliyah, I know you had some questions.
Yeah, going off of the downstream, or letting the downstream parties know of the change, has or is there a proposal to inform FEMA for the change in possible floodplain or hydrology?
Yep, that would be required. We went through, and this was a comment that also came up for our MIPA submittal, so we will make sure to notify FEMA on the changing of this flood zone that would come with removing the dam.
Okay. And have you received your approval letter from MIPA? Would you be able to provide that? I don't
Yeah.
know if that's in the application. I had looked and I wasn't finding it, but
It wasn't included, but I
Okay.
could easily forward that along
that
to
would be
you.
amazing. Thank you.
Yep, for sure.
I think that was all the questions that I had.
Great.
Can we close this without those letters?
I imagine
As a
the difference of a email, so I'm sure Haley can scooch it over to me pretty quickly. So yes, you could close without the letters, I imagine.
Anybody in the audience have any questions with regards to this hearing? Do you have anything else to add? You all set?
Well said.
Okay, and I guess we can close this hearing. So just one thing with those 8 trees,
Yep.
they're gonna supply the trees and the town is gonna work. You guys will plant them someplace in town where the commission sees fit or the town sees fit. Okay,
Yep.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, the next meeting is continued to February 18th, and we have a continued public hearing regarding the notice of intent filed by Dan Ford, 47 Lear Street, for the construction of a garage pool at 47-51 Lear Street.
Good evening.
Hi,
Want me to get a microphone?
I think you're all set.
Yeah, you have a couple.
There's one
Kind of
there.
a barroom whisper anyways.
There's one there.
Good evening, my name is David Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. I'm here with Mr. Ford, and what we presented before the commission was a proposed garage to occur at 4751 Lear Street. We were near the end of the hearing before, we've been through, and then we were talked about if any additional plantings or any areas in the future, like a vegetable garden or something, wanted to be put on the plan. If I can approach. I've actually taken the area and I've blown it up really big. It's not to scale, but it's the area right in here. We were also asked to extend the erosion control to the house. We were asked to provide additional erosion control down by the lake. We were asked about some plantings in front of the concrete sections that were down there. And then we were asked if there was gonna. I'll start it again. We were asked to provide erosion control all the way to the house. To bring that piece over, we were asked to put additional erosion control down by the lake. We were asked if there was gonna, Dan talked about a vegetable garden his wife wanted to put in. We've showed that on the plan. And then we talked about some plantings that may or may not happen in front of those concrete walls that were there when Mr. Gaudet, Paul Gaudet owned the property. He had there was some retaining walls that were in at that time. So we've shown those areas on the plan, whether there's plantings in front of those or not. We thought it'd be a good idea to put it on the plan.
Okay. The garage, I know we talked about the garage last time, and it's just for personal use, it's not for commercial
Yeah,
use?
just for personal use.
And there's no drain in the garage?
No.
No drain.
So we'll make that a condition that it remains residential and that there be no drain installed in the garage?
Yes, and on the plan itself, one of those notes over there talks about that it is for personal use, it's not for commercial. So that's on the stamp plan.
I see that. Okay. And we'll just add a condition that no drain be installed. Okay. Bob?
No, no questions.
Chris?
Refresh my memory, the pool discharge, will that go into the sewer system, or you have to drain the pool?
Yeah, it would go into, I think we were talking about pumping it in and pumping it out. Getting a service,
Oh, I see, okay. Pool water company to do it?
yes.
Okay.
It's only 5 feet deep, right? 4 to 5
Yeah,
feet.
45, yeah.
Okay.
All set.
Yeah.
Diane?
Yeah, I just have a few questions so that I can understand the map. I've been looking at the map and it just brought up some questions. So the proposed container floor overlaps with an existing wall. Is that wall going to be taken down?
It is not gonna be taken down, the wall is, so the back part of that, property slopes off pretty drastically. So it'll be pretty much,
Containment retaining wall.
yeah,
Be a containment retaining wall. Oh, it already is, it's existing.
yeah.
But the proposed container floor overlaps with it. Is that incorrect?
It doesn't,
Or it doesn't?
that's not incorrect. It'll be cantilevered, slightly cantilevered and, put up with, posts.
No.
No?
No, it'll be brought before the zoning when we go for the building permit, but right now it's just gonna cantilever a foot, foot and a half over the edge of the wall. The rest of the wall will be
Oh.
embedded into the bank.
The wall is
Okay.
embedded into the bank.
Yeah, no, the container
Oh,
itself.
okay, okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, the container's 40 feet long. There'll be a foot and a half overhang.
And can I ask, what is the container floor?
It would be primarily a entrance, mudroom, and more or less at the end of the container, it'd be a connecting to the house. So there'd be more of a picture window at the end of it. I don't know if did we already give them some pictures and whatnot?
I don't know what
Did I?
you've supplied on that.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't think we got any,
Okay.
we don't typically
Okay.
get the cute pictures, we just
All
get
right.
these.
Yep. Like a picture window, sort of end cap, where the container and the building would connect right there. So that deck area would no longer be a deck. It'd be floor. It'd be the floor of that proposed space. And the end of the container would be a big picture window.
Okay, so it's like a large mudroom. All right, that's fine. And then there are just some other things I just was really curious about. It says that there's a note saying that on the exterior wall, there's an existing wall on the right or on the north side of your map here. And that it will be removed if as necessary for the frost wall footing.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Sure, I can. That existing wall actually goes off of the property. And there's 4 sections of the block wall in that section. There could be one of those sections of the block wall taken out to ensure that the garage could fit in with the area around the garage. The garage is 40 by 40 for the motorhome, and it's very close to that wall in that area. So if one of the blocks has to get removed for construction, to get down to do the footing, or to do some work around it, there may be a piece coming out. So we just wanted to show any type of work that's gonna happen within 100 feet is noted on the plan. But I don't know who the GC is gonna be on it, so I'm just saying that the one block may have to come out from that wall. That's all.
Okay, all right, that makes plenty of sense. And then when I look at other parts of the map, I'm looking at the 15-foot line and the 30-foot line. Those lines stop when they get to the, what side is that? The south side, when they get towards the stairs and the existing deck. But of course, the lines must keep going, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, then it just raises 2 questions. The future garden, I think that you were thinking maybe a vegetable garden, right?
Correct.
So that is in the within the 30-foot line, which means no structures, right?
Right.
And so that means if there's a garden, I mean, I'm a gardener, an inveterate gardener. If you're going to have any raised beds, that's a structure. All right, any wood structure is a structure.
So you're just gonna say no.
Okay.
If I, through the chair, I'm sorry, I'm talking directly, that's
Okay.
not correct.
Go ahead.
There's an existing slab up above the garden area. If
Yeah,
there
I
was
see
to
that.
be a raised bed, the raised bed would go on the slab because it would be nice and level. The area down below that for the future garden would be plants that would just grow right on the slope. You could put a note, or you could put a restriction that says that no raised beds could be within the 30-foot zone, only up on the existing slab.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. And then to the within the 15-foot line, there is an existing wall. Again, on the which side is it? It's where it says possible decorative shrub plantings, right? So, are you thinking of maybe planting within the 15-foot line zone?
Through the chair, it was just suggested to us if we wanted to put any type of a cover so that the concrete wall wouldn't just be visible to anyone on the lake, would you please put some areas on there? If it pleases the commission, we'll remove that note from there because I don't think he's planning on planting anything there. But you just said if anything could happen over the 3 years, show something on the plan, so I did. If you know, if you don't want that there, we won't put anything there, and you can make that a condition too.
I think maybe if Diane is amenable to this, it would be like a native, some type of a native species. Is that correct,
Exactly,
Diane?
it definitely would.
He's got it mentioned over to the left.
Yep.
I mean, there's bamboo growing down there now.
No, I understand. Yep.
Well, if you replace like Japanese bamboo with native shrubs, that sounds good, but the bamboo will grow up among the shrubs.
Yeah.
Still,
He's been trying to
That was
burn the
still
root,
trying
he's
to,
been
yeah.
trying to burn the roots now and dig, and it's just still, it's a losing effort.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's getting worse.
I think they'll choke out any plantings, actually.
Okay, that's all of my questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alea?
Yeah, so back to the shrubs. I think the intent in planting any shrubberies would be to kind of stabilize the slope because there is so much just slope along there. We just want to make sure that it's not gonna, continue, where there are not retaining walls holding it back, we would like to see that it's not. So it could be loamed and seeded, but if it is, if you are installing shrubberies, it would be great to see something besides just grass.
Right.
And some native species planted there, so.
I'm almost positive, because one of my standards note is to lumen seed any disturbed areas as soon as practical, and that means if the job gets done in March, you don't lumen seed in March, you do it when it's May.
Yeah, I think that would be my only note.
Any questions from the audience? Any other questions from the commission?
No.
Okay, I guess if there are not any more questions, we can close this hearing. We have an RDA.
Yep.
Are you guys gonna vote to close the hearing, or the hearing's closed?
It's closed, and then we'll vote later on to
Okay.
issue the...
Thank you very much. I didn't wanna
Order.
just get up and walk away if you guys are deliberating.
You're all set.
Thank you for your time. I know you're all
Bye, Dave.
volunteers.
Thank you.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that Michael Christopher, 377 Shrewsbury Street, Worcester, Massachusetts, has filed an after-the-fact request for determination of applicability to construct a porch and three-season room at 52 Point Road.
Is there anybody here representing 52 Point Road?
Yes, my name is Zachary Karoulis. I am representing Remodeler Renew Home Improvement.
Okay. What do you have to say?
So we were constructed to build a four-season room at 5-2 Point Road. There is a small 4-foot by the length of the deck, which I want to say is 20 feet. So it came off the house 4 feet, off the room 4 feet, going 20 feet with the length. That was an existing porch. We went through zoning and got approval to add the 4x20. We had the structure inspected fully. They came and did the final, but they didn't pass it yet because then we realized we had to then go through conservation. We were under the impression that we were okay to build. We had all the proper inspections with the town, and the city came out. Everything passed. There was no problems until it came down to closing the permit. So once we realized that this is what we had to do, we eventually apologized, and we filed the paperwork as soon as we realized.
Okay. Bob, do you have any questions?
So I understand you built this, obviously, with the town's approval through the other boards. Unfortunately, you didn't come before us. The question I had is looking at this, you built this like August, the whole job was done in August, and I saw your paperwork you put was in December.
Yes.
That's just because you had no idea that you had to come before us, correct?
That 100%. Yes, we did not know. We were actually notified by the homeowner. He asked us to check in to make sure the permit was closed. I'm under my impression. I was told that the final pass, he was going to close it once he got to the office. It slipped our minds, and then once we were aware of it, we jumped to whatever we needed to do as soon as we could.
Okay, thank you.
Chris?
So with the extension of the deck, what type of footings did you install?
So the existing room had a carrying beam that had 12-inch sonotubes, 4 foot down, with a big foot underneath it, which is a 2x3 with 1 foot down. So a total of 5 foot in depth. Then it's backfilled, and then we pour the concrete after it's inspected. On the 4x20 that encroaches more, we just use normal 12-inch sonotubes.
Okay,
4 feet down.
okay. And what's under there now? Is it just bare soil, or what's under the added extra deck?
Yeah, so the underneath the deck, it's just grass and dirt. There's no pavers or anything like that. The reason why they didn't do a patio was because they didn't know how they just didn't want to have a patio. They just rather the deck, so they didn't put anything under there.
Okay. Thank you.
Diane?
Thank you. Okay, so, it does sound like it was an honest mistake because you thought that you were going through proper channels, but this had been flagged by Leah, so, it was an error. What I'm wondering is if you can mitigate that by planting some native trees, maybe some native shrubs as well. Maybe 3 native trees, maybe 3, 4, 5 native shrubs to mitigate that error.
Oh, okay. I could definitely talk with Leah, and she can tell me what would be preferred and what areas you guys would like it in. I did provide photos of the existing outline of the backyard and how it looks. There is some drainage, it looks like, between the wetlands and their house that was made probably when they built the development. But if that's something that we need to do, then yeah, we'll totally do whatever we need to do for the commission.
Thank you.
You all set, Diane?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Alea?
I don't think I have any additional notes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to chat with Zach about to the board, it might be the homeowner may be amenable to installing the shrubs or the shrubs and trees wherever they see fit. We'll just set a minimum number.
Correct.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable. Anybody in the audience? All right, so probably we'll probably set a minimum of 10, maybe 7 shrubs and 3 trees. Is that acceptable to you, Diane?
Yes, it is.
All right, and then we'll put that as a condition as that. All right, so would anybody like to make a motion?
Can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
So this is a split development home. This is a two townhouse. So they only own half of that backyard. To put that many, I want to say you said 10. I think they would have to get permission from their neighbor. Because I don't know if they could fit that many. I depending on what is asked us to put in.
I think maybe you can spread them between the front and the back.
Okay.
All right, it doesn't all have to be in the back. You can spread them around wherever
Okay.
wherever it best suits the area.
And we would ask probably for 3 trees, so those would get to obviously a large tree size, but the rest would be shrubs, so you could pick a smaller shrub species that would tuck in nicely.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we issue a negative determination of applicability for a porch and 3-season room at 52 Point Road with the condition that they plant 7 shrubs and 3 trees on the property, native shrubs and trees on the property in a place to be determined by them.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, we have to do a roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Ken? Aye. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a lovely night.
As well.
All right,
All right, you ready?
moving right along.
Wow.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that Isak Petrie of Pulte Homes of New England LLC, 1900 West Park Drive, Suite 180, Westboro, has filed an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for bank and bordering vegetative wetland at 3369 Green Street.
Oh, is anybody here representing,
Yes, my
And
name
I-
is Jim Bolduc.
Yes, they should be joining us digitally. There they are.
can't hardly hear them.
Can you guys see me
Let me
okay?
ask if they can turn it up.
One
name
minute,
is
we're
Jim.
gonna turn the volume up a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Again, my name is Jim Bolduc. I'm from VHB, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Pulte Homes for the wetland delineation that was conducted at 33-69 Green Street here in Shrewsbury. We filed an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation to get the wetland boundary approved. The delineation that was done on the site was done in the northern section adjacent to, is that South Street, isn't it?
Yes.
And, yeah, and so the delineation was done, it's approximately 1,884 linear feet of BBW, using wetland flags 1 to 148. And that delineation was conducted based on the Army Corps 3-parameter approach, using soils, vegetation, and hydrology. In addition, down gradient of that wetland line, I also delineated top of bank, approximately 1,431 linear feet, using stream flags SF1 to SF179. We're here this evening to request an order of resource area delineation.
I have a question. What time of year was this? Was it done?
I
was it done-
delineated this in, let's see here, April 19th and April 23rd of 2024.
Okay. Was it done at the same time as the other part of the project?
I don't know when the other part of the project was done. That was done by others.
Okay,
I think they were working in 2020. It must have been 2023. It's been a minute, so.
all right.
From what I understand, Pulte just wanted to get the entire site delineated. So this would wrap up the rest of it.
Understood. We're probably going to end up doing a peer review, and per our bylaw, it probably couldn't be reviewed until after April 15th, because that's in our bylaw.
Right. Is there a waiver request that I could apply for?
I don't know if we'd want to grant a waiver at this time. We haven't done that. There's a reason why we have that in our bylaw, and we'd like to see things flourishing. What's starting to emerge. We've done this in the past, and that's just my opinion. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but in the past, that's why we put this into our bylaw. So we like to see things growing before we do that.
Right, you want to see the herbaceous layer
Yep.
come up. Yep, I get it. I just didn't know if there was a waiver request that could be.
You could ask for it. I don't know if the board would grant it. We could take a vote. On it. There's a way to ask for a waiver.
Okay.
I don't think you've asked for one at this meeting, so we'd have to do that next time.
Okay, that's fine. In the interim, could we schedule something with your third-party reviewer?
He would have to look at it after
After
April
April.
15th.
Right. Okay. So I guess the best approach would be to continue the public hearing and submit the waiver and come back.
You could come back next month and we could vote on that, and if we deny it, then it would still be April 15th.
Right, right. Okay, but we're gonna have to continue it anyway.
Correct.
So I'll just go back and talk to Pulte Homes about that, and I'll get back with Eli. So-
Correct. Hold on. Chris, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Diane, do you have any questions?
No.
Aaliyah?
We could begin the process of setting up the request for peer review and then just request that the peer review not be conducted until April 15th.
100%. Yeah, we'll schedule the peer review, but it can't start until after April 15th going for right now, unless the board and it sees that it would like to grant a waiver. But I don't know what would happen. We haven't talked about that.
I will also, Jim, I'll share the waiver request form with you to fill out in the interim, to submit for the February meeting.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to continue this till February?
I believe that would, yeah, yes.
Okay. All right, we'll see you February 18th.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, we have a new.
Yep, ready. Notice is hereby given in accordance with provisions of General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Shrewsbury Wetlands Bylaw and Regulations that Steve Corriveau of 57 North Street, Shrewsbury, Mass. has filed a notice of intent for the construction of a single-family home and associated site improvements at 8 Highland Hill Drive, sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Marchetti with McCarty Engineering. I'm the civil engineer working on behalf of Stephen Corriveau and Corriveau Development. We filed a notice of intent for a single-family residence development at 8 Highland Hill Drive. DEP did issue a file number last Friday, so I believe, Aaliyah, you have that now.
Yes.
So the parcel in question here, it's a .92 acre parcel. It was part of this original subdivision design that was designed in the early 2000s. It was approved by the town in 2005, and the subdivision was built shortly after that. This one particular lot here at 8 Highland Hill was number 34 on the original plan. It wasn't built on at the time. It was purchased by an abutter. And since then, obviously, the applicant is entered into purchase and sale now for potential development on the lot. So initially, as part of the 2005 development, it was always intended to have a house. There's a wetland system here to the south that did have a finger that reached up into the southern portion of that parcel at the end of the cul-de-sac. As part of the initial subdivision, right here on the northern edge of the lot, within the same property, there was a detention basin that was constructed that had a discharge onto, in a southerly direction, down toward that southern wetland. So now, fast forward basically almost 20 years. This dark line here is the property. This wetland system to the south here, because the basin has continued to discharge since it was constructed, the finger has extended itself an extra 30 feet or so up toward the discharge to that basin. So we're proposing here, pull this off, so I can flip the plan. And I just want to reiterate that Marion DePinto from Three Oaks Environmental did delineate this for us in October 28th, so it was within your window. And that was part of the NOI filing. So as I said, the existing site is a combination here of upland, there is wetland, there is that drainage easement. The basin is here on the northern side of the lot, as you can see. There's an 18-inch discharge from it. And it continues when it does rain and when it does discharge in the higher storm events. The runoff continues in the southerly direction down to that main bigger wetland to the south.
I have one question.
Yes.
Well, before I forget, is this a basin? that you're crossing? Is it a detention basin?
No, the detention basin is up in the north side here.
So this
So-
is, go ahead.
There's a discharge pipe right here
Mm-hmm.
that just discharges to grade through a flared end section. And when it does rain, it just discharges and runs in a southerly direction to the main water body, the wetland system down to the south. So there's no body of water here, there's no intermittent stream, there's no perennial stream. It's just I don't know exactly what it's classified as a wetland, but when you walk through there, it's not a big wetland system. There's some wetland vegetation, but it's not wet, it's not mucky. There's a sewer easement that runs right here across it, just to the south of where we're proposing our driveway. In that sewer easement, when it was built, there's a little change in grade there, so it kind of dams up the water a little bit when it does discharge. And I think just the topography that was built there is causing a couple of pockets there that restricts the water that's creating the wetland that you see.
Okay.
So with our proposal here, we're proposing to connect to the cul-de-sac in the same location as what was originally proposed for the initial subdivision back in 2005. We're running the driveway up to the north, basically just south of the drainage easement where it was proposed before, to the upland area on the western side of the site. The house we're proposing here is about a 2,000 square foot footprint. It's consistent with, the other houses in the neighborhood. It's a little bit smaller, but we're working with the area we have on the property. It'll be a relatively modest colonial two-car garage. The way the site's been laid out now is we've brought some fill in, and we're proposing some fill to keep the house up out of the ground. So we have, a basement in the property that allows us some grade relief here to allow us to have a recharge chamber in the backyard for the runoff, for the rooftop runoff. And then it also allows us to pitch the driveway in a positive all the way up here to the front of the site, where we're proposing a pea stone diaphragm, which is basically a crushed stone reservoir for the runoff from the driveways to collect and infiltrate. The soils out here are pretty conducive to infiltration. They're B and C soils. So the size of both of the dry well and the pea stone diaphragm have been sized to detain and hold the entire 1-inch water quality volume, which meets the provisions of Shrewsbury's stormwater bylaw. The wetland crossing here that we're proposing, we're keeping it narrow. The driveway, I believe, is only about 12 feet or so wide at the crossing. With the culvert and the off-grading, we've got a total impact of about 468 square feet of wetland fill. As I said, we're proposing a culvert there just to convey any stormwater that does discharge from the basin across the driveway location and keep it hydraulically connected to the wetland system to the south. We're proposing a 2-to-1 replication on the southern end of the wetland series at the end of the cul-de-sac. As I said, DEP did review this. They commented on it. They had only two comments. One in particular was they had asked us to add some erosion control between the wetland replication area and the wetland downstream. So we've just added a small line here of erosion control and silt fence on the south side of the wetland. And then their other comment was to add monitoring and success criteria from the Mass guidelines for inland and wetland replication. So here on the detail sheet, I added a section here, which are notes directly from that document from DEP for replication monitoring criteria and then success criteria. So the monitoring criteria just tells us on the plan, it's now documented on a stamped drawing that they have to follow. That states when the wetland scientist who designed or helped design the project has to be on site to inspect the conditions before it's cleared out, during the installation of it, and then on a regular basis.
And we have not received revised hard copies of the plan.
You have not?
I have not,
Right.
so.
Okay.
I have a hard copy here for you. and I sent Electricon. We just got these last Friday, so I submitted them today.
Understood.
So that documentation is now added to this plan set. And then I guess really the last point I want to make again is that stormwater-wise, it's been designed to meet Shrewsbury's bylaw. The original subdivision was built or was designed with stormwater for this lot. There always was intended to be a lot or a house development on this property. So the stormwater was included as part of the initial subdivision design. Now with DEP regs as a single-family lot, it's not required to meet, but Shrewsbury's bylaws do require a level of treatment in order to meet both the 90% TSS removal and the 60% phosphorus removal. And that's been done here through both the dry well and the pea-stone diaphragm. So all impervious area from this development is going to a recharge BMP for stormwater. So if there are any questions I can answer for you, be happy to try.
How, did you request a waiver from the 15-foot and 30-foot?
I honestly don't know if it was officially requested in the,
And then if you do request a waiver for those two, what is the reason? You need to state why.
okay. Well, we clearly need to request it to have a crossing through the wetland system. And really, it is the only access to the upland area, developable area on the property, which does still meet the provisions of the Wetland Protection Act. It's within all the allowable requirements for a wetland crossing, which is allowed. It's underneath the 5,000 square feet of allowed wetland fill. And if for some reason it couldn't meet the 5,000, we would have been able to apply as a limited project crossing, but we're well under that threshold. So.
Yeah, so you'll have to, I would say, the engineering's gonna have to review the plans. They haven't had time, obviously, because they haven't seen them yet. So if you come back, you should request a waiver stating what you,
Did engineering review the first set?
No, they've not had the opportunity to.
They haven't, okay.
Yeah, no. We've had a lot of illness going around the office.
Okay.
so I would say, similar to what you just said,
Mhm.
and I think Aaliyah can supply you with a waiver request form.
Okay.
That you at least formally request and the reasoning why. There is no other way to access this lot.
No, there isn't. There is none. And unfortunately, like I said, with 20 years, the wetlands just crept up toward the
No,
detention basin.
we understand.
Yep.
All right, do you have anything else to add at this time?
I do not.
All right, Bob, do you have any questions?
Like I said, there's no way reposition, so it's in a different part of the property. There's no way of moving.
The wetland, the property line ends right here, and the wetlands are straight through it. And then this little short, narrow finger connects to the outlet to that basin, so this is the least impactful location to cross. There are no roads anywhere else behind on the sides to access it.
It's just concerned with that basin, how much water is gonna be flowing through there, especially during high water times, that there's probably some problems. You have to reposition, do a lot more work than I think you're doing to get that water to flow properly.
It is, I mean, it's an 18-inch outlet pipe, and from what we've seen, I know we haven't had a lot of rain this fall, from what we've seen, there hasn't been much water going through it. And we've upsized the culvert crossings. We have a 24-inch crossing through the driveway, so it's more capacity crossing the driveway than there is coming out of the basin. So we're pretty confident with what we've seen out there and the width of the channels that you can see flowing out there, that this should be more than adequate. And we've raised the driveway up, so there shouldn't be any opportunity for the driveway to be eroded or washed out the way that it's been designed, and the elevation's been increased, so we're a few feet higher in that location.
Okay.
No, so-
They had a waiver.
Chris?
Yeah, two quick questions. One, is it possible to move the house back a little bit toward the
It's,
back property line?
I mean, we could move it back slightly, but we're still gonna be within the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah.
We're outside of the 30. So kind of
Right.
gives us a little more separation, because there's a neighbor right back here. They have a fence right on the lot line.
Okay.
So this kind of the way it's laid out right now, in my opinion, fits the lot best. It gives them a decent backyard for actually
Yep,
being
I get
in the
it.
backyard.
So where I was going with it is it possible to make the driveway narrower? It looks like it's 15, 18 feet wide. At the skinniest part.
The driveway's not, that's the off-grading. So the driveway here,
I'm looking at the shaded gray area,
yeah, the shading, I believe it's only 12 feet wide.
12 feet, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
You good?
That's good, yeah.
I just hate to narrow it any more than that.
Well, I didn't have my scale with me, so I was
Yeah.
trying to eyeball it.
Diane?
Yeah, so, you've answered some of my questions anyway, but, I guess I have a similar question to everyone else, only phrased in a slightly different way, which is there a way to make it so that there's less impervious surface in the driveway? And the only thing I can see is to the left of the P-stone diaphragm, the driveway, there's probably an area that would be used for turning around. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We have that there just for delivery vehicles, you know, Amazon trucks. It's just easier than backing down the whole driveway. You know, we may be able to consider still having that as a compacted gravel area instead of impervious pavement, but, you know, my opinion, when you do that, you're just asking for gravel is erodible. You know, you get more of an opportunity for it to erode and run off in rain events. Plowing, you're gonna dig it up versus having it paved asphalt. And it's probably the same thing, only a 70 square foot area. It's pretty minimal.
And then I think that I'm just a little slow to figure this out. The wetland replication area.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me about what it looks like right now?
Right now, it honestly looks like a hardwood forest out there, to be honest with you. The ground's covered in leaves. It's not, this whole area, if you walked out there, if you didn't know what you were looking at, if you weren't a wetland scientist, when I walked through it, I had no idea it was wetlands. When we walked through it with our wetland scientist, you know, I didn't believe it, but she pointed out certain vegetation that was out there. It's really just the backside of the cul-de-sac, there's kind of a row of hedges and then there's a berm. It just drops down behind it. And it's really just, it looks like you would just walk through the forest. It's not wet, it's not mucky, it's not like you're walking through a forested swamp. So it's, you know, I'm not the wetland scientist. Our landscape architect, you know, put the plantings and stuff on it for the replication area. But it's basically pretty flat. As I said, the slope does, from where I show the replication area, it slopes up to the cul-de-sac. There's probably a 3-foot, 4-foot grade change from where we're showing the replication. So it is the low-lying area. They will grub that out. We will put in some hydric soils. So it is flat. So the area I show it is kind of where it really levels out and flattens out. So for successful replication, I think, you know, as close to the water source here from the basin, you know, at that lower elevation where it really deserves and belongs. Because the hardest part about replication is when you try to replicate an area that's not suited for it, it'll never establish.
Okay, so here's just a theoretical question. If that is right now basically a hardwood forest, right? That's what you just said, right? Hardwood, well, not a forest, but woods, anyway.
Yes.
Trees already absorb a lot of water when it rains. So those trees are going to be taken down in order to make the wetland replication area. Is that correct?
No, I don't want to mislead you saying it's like a forest. There are some big mature trees kind of on the outskirts. It's underneath a canopy. So if there's any mature vegetation in there that actually is wetland vegetation, it'll all stay. We'll dig around it. That's the value, and that's what's required as part of what DEP asks us to do, is put those notes on the plan, because we have, a certified soil scientist who does this all the time will be there inspecting and directing the work as it's installed. And, it has to be done properly. It has to survive 2 growing seasons for it to establish its dominance out there, or else the success rate isn't enough, and we need to continue on with growing seasons. And the builder's gonna have to keep planting new plants to keep it up, so it's in everybody's best interest to locate it there. And, the location of this was picked in conjunction with Marianne DePinto, so, it wasn't just haphazardly put on the plan.
Right, I think I'll just phrase the question again, and you can just answer it again. Is it more of a wetland replication area if you design it as a wetland replication area and take down certain trees and put in other plants, or if you leave it as it is?
Well, you're
So-
expanding the square footage of it. So
Yeah,
it's-
so you can't convert wetland to wetland. You must use upland area.
Yeah. So it's upland area that's being converted to wetland replication area. So if there are trees in there that need to come down, they'll come down, but they're outside of the wetland. And what'll be put back in there is, native vegetation that is growing and thriving in that area. We're not gonna plant something different that isn't native already to that area that's a wetland species.
Okay, thank you.
Alea?
Have you done any soil testing for the upland area to see how it will hold a wetland?
No.
Okay, so that would probably, we would like to see that that wetland will be set up for success and won't be just draining as fast as it's.
Yeah, well,
Filling
that's,
the log
that's, I guess that's the point of the replication, is the soil's taken out and hydric soil's put back in.
Yeah,
So we'll have good soil put back in, and that's, again, part of the replication notes explains that, so.
yeah.
I don't know if that's something more of a condition that can be done.
I think we would like to see that because, you can only dig down so far, and if it's just, if that area is all sand, you can add a nice layer of mud on top, but it will still, you're slowly gonna be losing your wetland as it's wetland, trying to wetland.
So what are you looking for? Testing now to see what the soil profile looks like below?
Yeah, probably, yeah. A small perk test would be probably sufficient. I'm not sure if you've done any other perk testing across the property to satisfy the stormwater report or the stormwater permit?
No,
No? Okay.
we've not.
So yeah, that would be I'm not sure if that would be a requirement of the stormwater permit, but typically they do like to see that their systems will also work. So that, the French drain that's proposed, sorry, not the, am I reading that right?
There's a dry well.
Keystone diaphragm,
Keystone
I
diaphragm.
apologize. Yes,
Yeah.
the diaphragm, not the French drain. And then the dry well as well, we'd want to see that they're gonna have sufficient drainage area and that water will be scooching along. And then, have you done calculations to confirm for the height set of the pipe so that you're not making one side of your wetland tippy or wetter than the other side of your wetland?
No, there's I think a 2% pitch is what we put on the pipe
Okay,
to drain across.
okay. So the intention is to
Yeah,
drain
it's
the
convey the
upland,
water
yeah.
from the north side down to the south side, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, meets the natural topography out there in that location.
Yeah, is there opportunity for the wetland on the, is that north? Yes, on the north side to, of the proposed driveway to kind of expand if there's obviously we're getting more flood events. It sounds like it's been dry during the drought that we've been having, when you guys have been out there, but in future floody events, it would be great to see that there's capacity in that old drainage thingamabob.
Yeah, there's tons of room up in here outside of what's
Okay.
been flagged as wetlands for it.
Okay, and that
And we're
will,
raising the site around it, so if anything, we're creating a pond or a bowl that, if it did expand, it would expand up to basically where you see our erosion control line.
okay. And then, back to the driveway, Is there any opportunity where it does, I understand the crossing is as skinny as it's gonna get. Don't wanna bother with that. But it does kind of widen out as you get closer to the house. Is there any opportunity to kind of, I guess, L-shape it so that it's kind of running along the 30-foot and is not impacting so much of the 15-foot area? It would run along the home?
Yeah, I mean, the 15-foot, we're only widening out probably a few feet in there. We could probably shorten that up.
Yeah, yeah.
least within that
Well, because
15 foot.
so the grading is impacting, I understand the grading is not impervious area, but it is impacting. So the 15-foot buffer is designed to be native vegetation that is totally undisturbed. It might be upland area, but it should be. We typically like to see that it is not touched at all. So you are impacting that area with grading. So anywhere that you can kind of skiddy it up to the house would be phenomenal. And if there's an opportunity to kind of re-rig the driveway so that it's going, so that you still have that nice turnaround, but you're not smushing so much against the wetland.
Yeah, I think if we tweak things a little bit in here, we can pull that out of the 15.
Phenomenal. And then the footing drain. Is there an opportunity to pull that back from the wetland as well? I understand that it's not all the way to the wetland, but it is pretty darn.
Yeah, so the footing drain, based on the elevations, we raised this part of the site to keep the house up out of the ground as much as we could, so we could daylight that without pumping it.
Okay.
We'd much prefer not have a pump system in the basement. We all know New England, the way it is with waters in basements, so, I think that contour there, we may be able to,
Scooch
if
it
we
a
just
smidge.
scoot it closer to the lot line, it'll just make it a little bit longer, but we'll be able to get out of the 15.
Perfect. Awesome. And then what are you proposing at the end of that? Or is there anything proposed at the end of that footing drain so that it's not digging a hole in the side of the hill?
It's just a small,
Okay.
4-inch,
Yeah, 4-inch pipe. I mean,
4-inch pipe flowing gravity, there's
typ-
barely any water.
Typically, when we put those in the ground, it's like that limit of work where it extends out that little finger. That's like 2 hours. Pipe goes in, we're back in. We could almost have the silt fence run in line, just stick the pipe out, just so that if you ever get a severe rain event, they have gravity flow out of their basement as opposed to a.
Okay. Yeah, it would be great if the limit of work typically and the erosion control typically just kind of does cut closer to the house, and then you could make a temporary, I guess, cut.
We could do that.
Erosion control to install the pipe.
Because literally, that's like a
Yeah, no.
2-hour task.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Running the
then there's
running it out
the
15
temptation
more
to
feet.
continue that, to continue. I don't know what you would do with that little spit of land otherwise, but there's
So
not a
the-
temptation to do anything else there.
So this, you're talking about this, right?
Yeah, so the erosion control would get just kind of cut back to the
Yeah,
grade.
we showed it just to make sure we weren't trying to get away with something. Like, there's the drains there, so if we're gonna be working in there, we wanted that, so.
Yes, yeah.
If you're okay with it, absolutely. I could put
Yeah,
a note to
it might be best,
temporary
you could
impact.
I would recommend like a wattle or something when you are proposing the construction of the pipe, just so that there's something there to, when you're playing in the dirt. But, having a temporary, but a more permanent temporary disturbance will be more.
So was that handled just in a note I could put there?
Yeah, I would, and then I would also just recommend adding that erosion control line along the,
Just this way?
yes, thank you, yeah,
So just coming straight across here.
yes.
Get rid of that, and then just add a note saying when the foundation drain's installed, have temporary measures in place. Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to Andy about the pitch of the pipe and whether that would be sufficient for conveying that water across, and
Yep.
whether or not it will actually equalize correctly. And then, yeah, there might be, I would recommend to the commission that if there are any large trees worth saving, if there is opportunity within the field to kind of, maneuver the wetland, the replicated wetland, around those species, so that you can
I think
conserve
he's
as many.
I think did you mention that? You
Yeah,
were gonna.
yeah.
We do that a lot. It happens when you're out there. You can just go around these things and stay away from
That's
it.
very, yeah.
Perfect.
Rather save the big stuff.
What's that?
I think the last thing would be a consideration of any, if possible, to mitigate some of that impact to the 15-foot buffer. If those slopes could be planted with native species instead of just grass, that would be phenomenal.
That's fine.
we have a native species list within the
Yes.
bylaw, and maybe you could specify, as Alea just stated, on some of those slopes, plant some native species.
Okay.
There are also some seed mixes that we
And then-
frequently
and
see
some seed,
used,
but
I'm
then
sure.
you know, it
I'm
just
sure
kind of
you'll
takes
find some.
back over and.
Yep.
Good.
I think I'm good now.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Diane, are you all set?
Yes, thank
No,
you.
So we're probably gonna ask you if you're going to continue this till February 18th.
Okay.
That'll give engineering a chance to review, then you can come back to us with those changes she asked. You
Yeah,
put
we
those-
can get those incorporated. in a
Put
week or
those on
so
the
and get
plan,
back to
and
you.
then your waiver request, please identify exactly what you're asking for, and kind of like what you just said.
Yep. So it's the waivers for both working the 15 and the 30?
Yep. Yes. Correct?
Yes. Yes, they are proposing both.
Okay? We'll see you back in February.
All right,
Oh,
thank you.
I'm sorry, one final note. It does, your plans note that the delineation was done in November. So I would just recommend revising that if it was done in October. I think one of the side notes, yeah, indicate that it's November.
October 28th was the day.
There you go.
We'll fix that.
Spooky delineation.
All right. Okay, I guess you guys are all set. We'll see you in February. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the other hearings have been continued, correct?
Yes.
And so now we are on to new and old business.
Thank you.
Let's see, so we went, 134 Reservoir Street.
So initially, we
Close
had
that.
one determination of applicability that you've already approved,
Yep.
so I will hand that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
5-2 Point Road, we've already voted on that.
And then I have
134 Reservoir
1,
Mm.
2,
and
So on 134 Reservoir,
4751 Leah.
okay.
Um,
2 orders of conditions.
so there, I have two conditions I wrote, recorded. One was the town of Northborough has a condition to replant 8 trees. I don't know if we wanted to condition that as well. The other was approval letter from MIPA.
Yes, that they should submit the approval letter from MIPA as well as, wasn't someone else that they needed to submit? No, I think they've already submitted all the other letters they could ever think of.
Okay.
So yes, just an approval letter from MIPA, and then the planting of 8 trees, or the donation of 8 trees to the town of Shrewsbury.
So the town of Shrewsbury is planting the trees?
I believe they're going to give us the trees, and then we can plant them wherever, the town can plant them wherever we see fit.
Fair enough.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the notice of intent for 63 Main Street, Northborough, with the condition that 8 trees be given to the town of Shrewsbury for planting, and we receive the approval letter from MIPA.
Yes,
For 134 Reservoir Street.
yes.
Did I not say that? Sorry, for 134 Reservoir Street. Sorry.
Okay, is that the motion?
Second.
All right, so we'll take a roll call vote. Bob,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes,
Ken, yes. Next one is 4751 Lear.
Which is this one. You
I
gave me
did
the
have
wrong.
a number of special conditions
gave
for
me the
this one
wrong-
that I would recommend. Oh, I apologize.
So that one's,
Here it is.
no floor drain in the garage, and it should remain residential, not for commercial use.
Yeah, I have remains residential, not and personal use with no drain. Pool not to be discharged into the lake or onto the property. And no raised bed garden or structures within the 30-foot buffer.
I would also recommend a special condition that the slope be loamed and seeded where not planted with native vegetation.
Okay,
and the slope be loamed and seeded were not specified.
okay. So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we, let me find my place here, that we approve the notice of intent filed for 47 Lear Street, 47 and 51 Lear Street, with the condition that the garage remains residential and personal use with no drain. The pool is not to be discharged into the lake or onto the property. No raised bed gardens or structures within the 30-foot buffer, and the slope be loamed and seeded.
We're not planted with
Where-
vegetation.
Where not planted with native vegetation.
Second?
Okay, we'll take a roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes,
Ken? Yes. Okay. And that concludes that, correct? Those are all the ones we had to approve.
That's that one.
Point Road.
We're going in reverse order here.
Point Road has already been.
We did that with the
issued.
negative. That was the
Okay,
RDA.
okay.
On to this certificates of compliance.
Yes, so I have two certificates of compliance this evening, one for 9A Blackthorn Road and one for 85 Spring Street. Both, as you can tell from the DEP file numbers, are rather old orders of conditions. When I stopped by the properties, they are, the houses have been constructed, the families have moved in and moved out, and the wetland remains unchanged and untouched. So I would recommend that the commission issue both of those certificates.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
And then, as we're signing those, we have review proposed Rawson Hill Trails.
Let me load that up for you guys on the computer.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, that would be wonderful, thank you.
So hi, I'm Stefan Hess. I'm the chair of the Shrewsbury Trails Committee. And with me-
And I'm Melanie McGee from the Trails Committee as well.
So as part of our Connected Town, Enrich the Neighborhood plan, we have identified some trails within Rawson Hill that are underutilized and great treasures. We're proposing within the town trail development process that was just been outlined. We want to we need to get approval of some of the things with different town departments, as well as with your commission. So what we're proposing here are two trails. One would be this town property, 253 Prospect Street, which currently has a chain link fence across from it, which is at Prospect in Dartmoor. And we're proposing a trail that would go down the center of that property into parcel 257 and put a trail there towards the DCR redevelopment that they recently did there, the dam and the access road. So before we went and contacted DCR, we wanted to make sure that with the Conservation Commission, we would have your approval to put in a trail there that would be a passive 6 to 10 foot wide trail that would be used just for walking. The second proposal is on the other side of the dam. We would cross the dam also into town property. We would stay away from the homes and away from the wetlands and put in roughly, I think it's about a half-mile trail loop back there on the north side of the dam. So those are the two trails that we're proposing. And from a Conservation Commission perspective, we wanted to know if there's any issues or any considerations that we need to make.
So these proposals occur on conservation-held land that is owned by the town, just so they would be seeking your informal approval to use their land, to use your land.
What are they made, how are they constructed?
The trails, actually, the land there is relatively flat where we're proposing these trails. So it'd be potentially removing some branches and some small saplings, et cetera, along a relatively flat area. On the Roston Hill access, there's, on 253 Prospect, there are a lot of vines that we would be taking down. But other than that, it's relatively clear outside of those vines. We wouldn't be cutting any trees. And then as we get into, we would cross, there's a stone wall. I actually walked it this weekend. There's a stone wall around the end of parcel 253. We would cross that. And then there's a plateau around, it's about at the 590-foot mark. It's relatively flat. And there are a lot of trails already informally used back there. You can even see where there used to be a gate used to be there too, and there were farm roads and things like that. So there's a lot of tall trees, but there's a lot of empty space actually along there. And it would be very easy to make a very gentle path and just use trail markings, and that's all.
So your plan wouldn't be to remove trees, but just rather weave through them?
The only reason we would need to remove a tree is if it was dead on the ground. That would be it.
Okay.
What about parking at 253 Prospect? Because I assume some people will drive and want to park there.
So the goal is not to drive. So if that area is very dense and has no walking except for sidewalks there. So that goes right into either there's Cross Street, it's very dense housing there, but there's no woodlands really to walk into.
No plans to build a parking spaces?
None.
Okay.
None at all.
Okay.
Right now, the DCR has a little bit of space by their access road, but the goal is not to
encourage
for people to walk there.
Right.
It's part of their neighborhood. So just giving them access. The only access they have now is to walk through that curvy part of Prospect down the hill and take your life into your own hands as you try and get into that DCR road. And people do it.
Yep. I know it well. Bob?
I don't see a problem with it. I think it's a good idea.
Chris? Diane, do you have any questions?
No, it looks like it's increasing walkability for people who live in that area. It doesn't look like it will be hugely accessible to a lot of other people, but I think that people need to get outside and walk. So that looks lovely to me.
Yeah, great idea. Great. Aaliyah?
I think the only note is, so this is for the approval of conservation-owned town land. A separate approval would need to be sought with the state for the use of their, so you might have to, you'd either have to seek approval or say, trail ends here.
Yes.
And then a big sign on the other side that says trail restarts here.
Yeah, so first we wanted to get your permission, because we just want to make sure that it's a feasible idea. And then we will go through and there's some abutters that need to be notified that we're thinking about this. We need their inputs. And DCR is also an abutter to this. So I've already spoken to DCR informally, but we haven't gone through the formal process yet. But as our town process and our trails process, you're the next step in that for us to make sure before we talk to everyone else that we know that it's a possibility to do this.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
It will be wide enough that for somebody that gets hurt there, to get public safety and to get these people out, it's not, it's gonna be an easy path to follow, so they can, if somebody gets hurt and they have to be picked up by the fire or police.
Yeah, so we're looking to make it about 6 8 feet wide. Will there be bumpy spots, and we're not looking for ATVs, we're looking for this to, go for a walk. Well, people want to walk their pets or whatever. It's an opportunity that right now they can just only walk the street. And everything is within a half a mile. I mean, all these trails are half a mile long is 3/4 of a mile, but most of it's at about a half a mile. So we're trying to connect more of these trails together so that there's a significant trail network within our town.
Oh, it's a great area. I grew up in that whole area, so I know that area well. I think it's great to have all this as an asset for the town and for everybody to enjoy. I think it's a great idea.
And for people to be able to see some of our wetlands
Oh,
without.
it's a beautiful
tramping
area.
around.
Without building next to them.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
You can appreciate them from
So
afar.
somebody will make a motion on this? Is that what we need to do?
There's also the back one, the other one
Yep.
is on the north side. We feel like we're going to be significantly away from the houses and also the wetlands there. That's actually a bigger loop there, and we're also going to stay a significant distance away from the Shrewsbury Sportsman's Club as well.
Okay.
Okay. Good idea.
Somebody like to make a motion that we approve these 2 trail areas?
We have no conditions, correct?
I think it would be a motion to allow the use of
Yeah.
conservation land for trails.
So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the use of conservation land for these 2 trails.
Second.
So that the Rossin Hill access and the Rossin Hill
Trail.
Trail, correct? All right, we had a second. Bob,
Yes.
Chris,
Aye, yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Ken, yes. All set.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good luck. Thank you for your time. Updates, 54 Cherry Street and 101 North Quinsigamon Ave.
Who's first? I'll just give you guys a really quick update before 54 Cherry, and then we can get out of here. So,
Is this gentleman from?
He's from 54 Cherry Street.
Okay.
I'm going to have you hold for just a sec so I can shoot through this. So the enforcement order for 101 North Quinsigamon is still open. They still have several failed retaining walls across the property. But they have filed a notice of intent, finally, and will be hopefully opening the application at the February 18th meeting.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank
Back
you.
to you, son.
Okay. So, I came to the commission probably about a year and a half ago, like 18 months ago. And I discussed about a proposal to construct a patio. Let me see, do you have any?
Yes, let me grab some photos.
I have some handouts too, but it's not in color.
Present. Boop, boop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness. You're back?
So yes, under the order of conditions for 285-1978, there was a proposal to construct a patio area in the rear yard. We approved that, sometime last year, I can't recall. And now
Yes.
there's an
Yeah,
additional
and so, I
proposal.
mean, at the time, I wasn't exactly sure how I'm gonna utilize the back, but definitely the patio was on the table. But now, as we live there longer and we kind of understand the landscape behind there, we would like to propose a construction of a deck, or actually extension of a deck. So you can see, is a picture that I show of the existing deck now, right? And so the proposal would be to extend the deck, a wraparound deck, around the back of the house, ending roughly where you see those, the double sliding doors. And so it would be, and there would be a proposed staircase that goes from the existing deck down below so that we can have access to the patio. So you can see on the picture, you can see more of a color of what I was envisioning, where you can see the staircase, the blue staircase coming down, and then it just like an extension, almost like an L-shape deck, a wraparound to the back of the house. And so wanted to bring this to the commission's attention and consideration and guidance on what things I should cannot or cannot do.
How close is it to the wetlands? Is it 15 feet?
Yeah, it will be 15. It will be directly above the proposed patio, so it would just be another layer up. So in actuality, if you were to plane the distance from where the wetland is to the deck, is probably greater than 15 feet.
How come you didn't, there's a lot of work that went on this property. I know you had to
Yep.
fix it, and replication, and stones, and all kinds of different things over the years. Why didn't we do this all at once?
No, so all the stone that was done prior to me.
That was prior to you?
Yes.
Oh, it was another issue here. So when I saw this, I recognized.
You remembered
it.
it.
Yeah, so
Oh, my
everything
goodness.
was done, and the only thing.
Prior to you?
Yes, prior to me. That was done by the developer,
Yes,
and so,
okay.
yeah, there's stones around the property where the wetlands is. There's, I guess,
We have an order of conditions on this now?
Yeah, so I guess the request tonight is whether or not an amended order.
Yes.
Whether or not this is a small enough matter because it does not alter the limit of work. And I probably a question would be the number of pilings that would be proposed for the construction of the deck. And then, yeah, if there would be any of substantial, so we had approved the construction of a patio to the 15-foot previously. So on the open order, they are allowed to construct a patio.
So this order predates the bylaw?
Let me see when it was issued.
Thinking it does.
This was issued on September 20th of 2023. So yes, it predates the bylaw.
So, and he has an open order of conditions now, which
Yes,
predates
so-
the bylaw?
Yes, so this was issued probably days before the bylaw was
Okay.
set into effect.
So I would say come back before the board and show, do you want him to come back, or do you want us to do the?
So I guess I think that was to the determination of the board to this evening, if we would like to see a request to amend submitted, or if this would be a small enough matter that they would not require, we can I'm happy to go check out the site as they propose work, or as they start to do work.
Well, so the wraparound part, pushing the
Yep.
deck, is going to be directly above the patio, correct? There's not
Correct.
going to be the footings will be part of the patio, I assume? Is the
Oh.
patio made now?
no, the patio is not.
Okay, I couldn't tell from the snow.
Yeah, so the footing would be directly underneath the patio.
I would not recommend,
closer.
I would not recommend any disturbance any closer to the wetland
Yeah.
than what is already proposed to be disturbed. But the construction of the pilings did not seem like it
It
would.
looks like it's only 9 foot from the wetlands here, and that piece.
So that's 9 feet to the,
To the
Arborvitae?
back.
where's that?
Yeah,
That's to the arborvitae,
Yes.
Yeah, the arborvitae, correct.
Yeah, so let me pull up,
and it's
here
15
this
feet
tab
to the
instead.
wetlands flag. 15.
Okay.
So it's at least 15.
So
to
this,
the-
there was a lot of things that
Yeah.
happened.
So you can clearly tell where it has been delineated.
Yeah,
This-
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the initial proposal had also not proposed any work beyond the existing, basically limit of work or existing, yard area.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but perhaps you should come back, just I mean, this is the plan that we're gonna use. I mean, it doesn't, I guess it shows everything on here.
I don't know if you would want to see, something submitted is when they do, when the, sorry.
When we
God,
do the
my
bur-
brain.
building
Well, we don't
permit?
have any, we don't have any.
Blah, blah, blah.
We don't have any erosion control or anything detailed here, right?
I imagine let me check the special conditions for the original proposal.
Is the erosion control up, or has it been taken down?
It's been taken down, yeah.
So perhaps you should come back, and you don't have to, you have a set of plans, just show in where you're going to be working, put some erosion control at the limits of work, and then show exactly the patio, what you're going to use for piers to support the deck.
Okay, yep.
And then it would just probably be an amendment to the order.
Yeah.
Because you've already done a lot of work there. So that way, everything's memorialized, and we can add it to that order.
Right, wait, the erosion control that you are referring to, it would be in the same line as those boulders, right?
Correct, it would be in front of those boulders, so you
Yep.
kind of want to go from, I would say, wetland flag, somewhere around wetland flag 15.
Yep.
And then you could go, you don't have to go
Oh, I'm
down the,
sorry. Wetland farm 15 is beyond those boulders, right?
yes, but don't go there, stay in front of the boulders.
Right,
I'm
where
just-
the grass is. right?
Correct.
Yes,
And then just go straight across
yep,
over to and around. If you want to, I can show
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I would just cut straight across.
Correct.
To probably what,
So,
is that
so,
wetland flag
so
26?
start here, right, start
Yes.
here, so there's wetland, so
27.
start here, and then
26.
just go kind of like straight
Or
across.
you could go 27.
Yeah, 27
Like
might be
that,
good.
and then come down. And you're gonna put this in, right?
It's already there.
All right, so this go like this,
Yeah.
and that covers this work you're going to do here.
Yeah.
All right? So from that jog to this jog. Show that on a plan. You can take this back, and then come back to
And
us.
then I would
And the
also,
detail in the footings.
I would also recommend to the board that the footing plan be submitted, because we typically will see that. So once you've secured that from either, from the contractor.
And then we'll add it to the existing order, because that order predates the bylaw.
Yeah, can you show me, tell me more about the bylaw?
You don't want to really know too much about it, because you wouldn't be able to do this work.
Yeah, this would not be allowed under the
So
new
it's a good
bylaw.
thing you came.
So shortly after your proposal went through, the town instituted a wetlands bylaw. So there's more stringent regulations for what is allowed and not allowed under the commission, under the thing. So if you were to propose this today, it probably would not be approved.
Right. So please come back with a plan that details it exactly and show exactly what you're gonna do, kind of with those things. Any questions, talk to Leah, come back next meeting, and we can discuss it as a commission and see if we can amend your existing order.
If I can't make it for the February, can I?
Absolutely, you can come anytime you're ready.
Yeah, 'cause,
I'm glad you came in to discuss this, this was a good thing.
Yep.
yeah, I'm not, I'll get talk to contract and figure out timeline, but it could be 6 months out, I'm not sure.
Well, whatever, but don't let your order expire.
Which is,
It was issued in 2023, so you have several years.
Okay.
You have an extra, so you have 5 years for this order, because the state did something weird.
So just don't let it expire, get it done before that expires.
Yeah, so you have until 2028 to build a deck.
thank you,
All right? Diane,
Thank
do
you
you
for
have
coming
any
in.
questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
No, she does not.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in.
One additional comment, the deck is going to be directly above the patio. There's limitation of 15 feet.
Can't hear you on the microphone, sorry. Can you stand up?
Yeah,
15 feet from the wetland, right? Marker?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So is that a diagonal line, or is that a straight line, or?
I think it runs pretty parallel to the rear of your home. So it would probably be a straight 50.
So what I'm trying to say is, because the deck is gonna be obviously higher. So
Yeah.
Is it 15 feet this way, or is it 15
Oh,
like
yeah,
this?
yeah, so it's 15 feet if you pull the deck to the ground, it's 15
Okay.
feet straight.
I
So
see.
Where
yeah,
it touches
yeah,
the ground.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yes,
So
exactly.
the deck has to be 9 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, you wouldn't want to get it any closer to the wetland.
Yeah, no more than that.
Okay, yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna ask. if
No,
you-
you're good,
It's a good question.
you're good with that. What you have on this plan works,
Right,
okay?
okay.
Already approved the patio, right? Yeah, keep it just, where your patio, just keep the deck right above the patio. If you build them as one straight unit, you'll be good.
Right,
So
right,
show us that on, just come back and show us all that, and
yeah.
should be
Yeah, you'll
okay.
probably be required, if you are planning to build a deck, you'll be required to submit those plans for the building permit.
Yep.
So whatever plans you're planning to submit to the building
Bring it to you
department,
guys.
bring it
Correct.
to us, and then the commission will have an idea of what that deck will look like,
Okay, perfect.
and that'll be
And
good.
if it's similar, if it's exactly what you showed here, you should be fine,
Yep.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before this commission tonight?
Took the matters out of order, so I don't think so.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, Bob,
All right.
Chris,
Aye.
Diane?
I
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.